Captain's log, stardate more or less unknown. While we were hunting the criminal mastermind known as Traceless, well, we kinda sorta screwed up our entry or leaving or whatever you wanna call it. Well, we kinda screwed up our point of entry in the normal time period stuff. So we're in orbit around Earth. Did find out that it was totally, well, a kaput. And I'm going to ask whoever we can call whatever happened. Look out.
Yes, and who may I be speaking to?
Yeah, this is Captain Calvin Cat, Federation Starship, USS Dragonfly. What the hell happened to the planet?
Well, you see, good sir, you're in my reality now. Many years ago, I took this world. If you're interested, I will tell you the tale about the battle between me and Matt, my first sworn enemy.
Malice, I need to talk to you. I hear you're going after Mad Matt. Now listen, I know I've done some stuff with Matt in the past. You may bear me some grudge, but just listen. Matt's been getting in on my gig. Just too much kaiju, too much horror. It's like he's cutting me out of it completely. He's all these Friday the 13th films, really fucking up my style, man. I'm with you. I'm down. Especially when he turns around and tells me I took too long. The fuck is an undead guy supposed to do? Break an arm? Break a leg? I want him out of the picture. I want him out of the picture now. You have my support. I'm with you. Whatever goes down, I'll do what it takes.
Be ready for me, Matt. I will be coming soon.
Hello everyone! So yes, the opening's finally done, and we're ready to get this sucker rolling because season finale, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be something big and epic by the end of this little review. So, yeah, moving right along, let's talk about our movie for today.
Wait! If we're gonna do a giant monster movie, you gotta do it right. Welcome back to the Night Kaiju Fight Club, the very best giant monster movies have to offer. Tonight's lightweight match is Frankenstein versus Baragon. Over to the mean lean German machine. Frankenstein stands 20 meters tall. 200 tons. Both monsters does not have wingspan or airspeed, so we're not going to worry about that part. Frankenstein is not affiliated with any known faction. Some suspect the Shadow Syndicate, but from the looks of things, it does not. Yes, the power to regeneration of any damage he sustains is pretty much tis a flesh wound. Any damaged parts that fall off of him will become minions later on. The best example, the Gargantuas from War of the Gargantuas. He has a grappler, or being humanoid, he has advanced intelligence, and could create improvised weapon on the environment itself. On the other side, the jet being of fire, Baragon, standing or lengthwise 25 meters tall, 250 tons, and an elemental champion, officially classified as a pterosaur. Hell, I don't know. Most that we've seen him, he is an elemental champ. He has a heat ray or fire breath, depending on what you're going on. He has horns, he has claws, he can burrow, and he is a good body slammer. This is the first fight for them. No wins or losses for each. And at the odds, even despite being 5 meters shorter and 50 tons lighter, Frankenstein is a 70 over Baragon's 30. Anyways, now, thanks for the beer. Nice contribution to the effort. And now, back to you, sports fans.
Where? How? What? There? Oh, whoa, whoa, hey, whoa, what? 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 Yeah, anyway, the movie, we basically open up this movie with what seems to be like your typical Universal Frankenstein movie. Only it's actually in color and, somewhat colorful in the chemicals that are in the tubes here. We get a mad scientist who has a beating heart in a suitcase, and it is apparently the heart of Frankenstein. Yeah, before we go any further into this video, I would agree with some people on a certain level that yes, the Frankenstein's monster was never named, and ergo is called the Frankenstein's monster. However, being that it survived as a living creature still, I would assume that the monster would take its creator slash father figure, if you will, take his name, at least his last name. So technically, I have to agree with Linkara, and also my childhood self, that yeah, he's called Frankenstein. If nothing else, he has at least the last name Frankenstein because of his father slash creator. So, nitpickers, yeah. The heart is taken to Hiroshima, just in time for it to be hit by the nuke! Added to this, there's rumors of a wild child that are running around Hiroshima, and even 20 years later, he's apparently still out there, despite the city having been fixed at this point. However, our main story really starts up with the boy running out of food and starting to hunt down animals throughout the city. Eventually, he is found and befriended by scientists trying to find a way to cure radiation sickness and save lives. But as they continue to study him, he continues to grow immensely in size, and continues to get bigger and bigger as time goes on, henceforth forcing them to feed him bigger and bigger amounts of food to keep up. Which then, of course, leads up to his breaking free. At the same time that he breaks free, another monster named Baragon is striking out and killing both animals and humans, unlike Frankenstein, who has only been eating animals for food. Obviously, these two monsters were destined to have to fight each other, and by the last quarter of the film, they finally do start fighting each other. Frankenstein does technically win the fight, and saves many more human lives from being destroyed by Baragon, but in most normal versions of this film, there's a chasm that finally opens up as the ground quakes, and both Baragon and Frankenstein are sucked into it. Never to be seen again, but hinted at that he might return someday. But because there's an alternate ending, I actually have to talk about the ending of this film. The alternate ending, Frankenstein still kicks Baragon's ass and kills him until destroy all monsters, which is sadly lacking in Frankenstein's monster, which really should have been there because that was freaking awesome. But I'm also kind of thinking that maybe they pull name issues and stuff on this film, so that's why they never did any more Frankenstein movies. Just a thought. But anyway, Baragon defeated, there's an earthquake, but this time, Frankenstein goes running off and finds a giant octopus. A giant octopus, which I might add, is also in the beginning of the next film in this two-part series. Frankenstein and the giant octopus go at it, and the octopus does kind of seem to win this fight, however. Both it and Frankenstein go tumbling into the water, never to be seen again. But the remains of Frankenstein are both on shore as well as trapped in the ocean. And these parts would then gather together and become the monsters for the next movie, War of the Gargantuas. But that's an entirely different story. So, plot basics out of the way, let's talk about this film. Overall, I think this movie is actually a fairly good one. It brings back most of the hit people behind the creation of the Godzilla films to do something other than just another Godzilla movie. The makeup and the monsters, despite looking odd at some angles, are rather well done, and there's a few small animal effects that just sadly don't work in this movie, and it's obvious why they don't ever do this ever again. But overall, I get the feeling that they were making this movie not only wanting to just have fun with it, but also having something to test out their special effects ideas and to help improve for the next Godzilla film. And now for the other versions of the film. To be honest, there's not been that many changes made between the Japanese and American versions. However, there are some tested effects ideas and alternate scenes that were shared with the American distributors in case they wanted to change things around, but they never really used them, and instead would just cut down some of the scenes that were already part of the main theatrical release, just to shorten things up for a more equal time on the film, but also to skip things that, to be honest, people back then probably culturally were unaware and wouldn't understand anyway. But, with that out of the way, let's now go to Mike, who will talk a little bit more about the American version of this film.
It's pretty much your typical old-style English to Japanese kind of thing. It's not at all terrible, except for... It's mostly good, except for some of the background characters that, like, we're going to kill the monster now. And there's also Dr. Wily here.
Thanks, Mike. I also agree that for the most part the dub is rather well done and is fairly faithful to the most part for the original film, which is something that was rather rare for dubs at the time. But before we get to conclude our little review here, let's get a second opinion. Let us go to the Man in Black.
Hey Matt, it's me, Man in Black. We're talking about Frankenstein Conquers the World. It's an interesting film here. We've got Ishiro Honda and Akira Ifukube, best known to most viewers as the director and composer behind Gojira, the original giant monster classic. Now, what makes Frankenstein Conquers the World kind of unique with that pairing is that this is the only kaiju film that those two worked on that was not related to Godzilla, that had a direct sequel that both Honda and Ifukube worked on, which of course would be War of the Gargantuas, or in Japanese, War of the Frankenstein, Sanda vs. Gaira. The American dub kind of cut that out, and after watching both of them I can kind of see why. An interesting thing here is this was actually not the first time that this pair was intending to work on Frankenstein. Any of you who've watched King Kong vs. Godzilla might have noticed some shenanigans going on there. First, King Kong being much larger than he was supposed to be. His power over lightning, and most horror and monster fans will realize that the only classical monster that's been traditionally paired with lightning and electricity is Frankenstein. King Kong vs. Godzilla was originally going to be Frankenstein vs. Godzilla, but I believe it was due to a rights issue. This ended up getting changed, and King Kong got put in Frankenstein's place. I wish there was a little bit more development for Baragon going on here. Honestly, we see a bit of a monster below the rubble. We see some glowing. We see some theories as to what he is, but we never really get development. Is he evil? Is he out to destroy things? Is he in the wrong place at the wrong time? He just happens to be burrowing through the ground and fights Frankenstein, which is, you know, obviously it's fodder for the alternate title of Frankenstein versus Baragon, but why are Frankenstein and Baragon fighting? No one really seems to know, other than they're both there at the same time. Speaking of Baragon, it's very interesting seeing some of the, I don't know if I want to say obsessions, but some of the repeating elements in kaiju and tokusatsu writing. You've got dinosaurs that are still alive after millions of years, which is very interesting from a scientific sci-fi level. You know, are they just willing to admit that these creatures have been huge and alive and we haven't been able to discover them? Are they saying that science has been that inefficient? Are they saying that the same individuals have been alive for that amount of time, or simply a small population and we're only seeing one of them? Sometimes this is gone into, sometimes it is not. Very often it more seems to be a case of we're required to give an explanation. We're not required to make sure it works. For example, in this movie, these are all speculations by the characters. They ask questions. They think about dinosaurs. They ask whether Baragon gains its ability to glow from fish that can create light. They are comparing small fish that can create light and see by that light, although I believe more fish are likely to use that light for bait than to actually see by it, and suggesting that Baragon might have this ability. Interestingly, they also have a scientist pretty much not straight out say that they're wrong, but that it's pretty unlikely. Which is the truth. It's pretty damn unlikely, but they're not presenting us with a better scenario, so we as the audience are led to believe that it's the truth, or at least the truth as they are able to understand it. It really shows some of the staples of tokusatsu and daikaiju, especially at this time. You've got dinosaurs that are still alive after all of this time. You've got radiation, specifically, in this case, specifically drawn into Hiroshima. A lot of films, Japanese films in the 60s were very tied into the ending of World War II, for obvious reasons. And then, of course, you've got the weird animal powers. And I'm pretty sure I've seen those before as well. And even if you look at Godzilla, dinosaur that was changed by radiation. That's just one example, the most well-known. But these are definitely staples of the daikaiju genre. It might be the earliest film I've seen this in, but we actually have sequel baiting here. Frankenstein dies in a semi-glorious fashion, and yet they're very clear. He's not dead. He's no more dead than he was before the film, when he was just a heart of the original 1930s Frankenstein. So yeah, he's very clearly alive, defeated, but able to come back at any time for a sequel. Nowadays, we're extremely used to this and see it as a blatant cash grab. Here, it's kind of surprising because I don't think I've seen this in a film of the 1960s. And of course, we know there was a sequel, War of the Gargantuas, which was a pretty different film, to be honest.
What's this here? A Mark 6 sonic screwdriver? And a note. Where did it come from? And here Frankenstein very clearly throws the empty Baragon suit across the battlefield. And I love the green screen effects in this movie. Kind of makes me feel a little better about my own effects.
Yes, very unusual that it would sequel bait itself like it did. But I would also have to agree, too, that, yes, some of the effects towards that last fight didn't quite work, and there's also the animal effects that didn't quite pull off quite that well either. But I have to say that one has to look at this film like this. For online reviewers that use special effects on their show, they have to do a lot of testing before they know what really works and what really doesn't for their special effects. And yes, that's technically my excuse for special effects flaws in this film. Japan honestly had never seen anything like this movie up until this point, but I'm sure even Toho wasn't fully pleased with the special effects and wanted to do this mostly to get a stronger film for the next Godzilla movie. But the characters are generally likable, the monsters are pretty decent and fairly original, although Baragon sounds a lot like Barugon, which is a Gamera villain, but that's a totally different story. The monsters are still pretty decent looking and have their own different interesting strong points for the fight. And yes, in a way, Frankenstein didn't conquer the world, at least for a little while there. He showed that he is the strongest there is, before falling into a giant hole. But yeah, that's about it for this time. I would expect an attack in, say, 3, 2, 1...
So, Matt, time to get you outside!
What I tell ya? Henshin! Alright. Cabot, live feed to everyone that's available. Let everyone see what's going on right now. And, Mike, watch out for yourself. You're in the same time as I am, he might also be trying to attack you. Let's do this.
Okay, I got it.
You think good idea. I've been waiting for this for a long time, Michael. You're mine.
SOS. Matt needs help.
Come on, Matt. Do I need to do another one? Get out here.
Signal Mouse. What's your problem now?
What do you mean, Matt?
No, seriously. Why are you constantly attacking me now? You know I'm part of your friggin' experiment. I didn't know it.
Well, to be honest with you, Matt, you were my guinea pig. That is until I decided, you know what? Your show gets a bigger audience. Your show can reach more guinea pigs. And now I have the power to kill you and take it for myself. So, why not, Matt? Why not?
Oh, really now? So you think you're so high and mighty you don't need me anymore? Guess what, bud? I don't need you anymore.
Oh, that's a threat from a little nerd like you, Matt? Come get some.
Oh yeah? Bring it.
You will burn!
hell am I supposed to fight that? Oh. Magic sword. Power symbol. Make me grow!
I got the SOS. I'm ready too. Oh, shit. No, Matt. Damn it, it's too late.
What the hell is that? Oh my god! Holy crap!
Come on, guys. Fall back. Retreat. It's too late to help Matt.
At least mouse didn't follow. Oh shit. How?
Oh, little Mac. One now wants the power source. It's an inanimate object for weeks. And because of that, I have so much power, I was able to quickly recover. Unlike you. Now, I have a one suggestion for you, Mac. Die! And while I'm at Mac, burn! Ah, yes. A new trinket of power. Very nice. A new pair of gloves. They look better on me than they did on you. And oh, lastly, let's not forget. 2 swords of power now. Combine. Yes. It's a good day to be me. And since then, this world has been mine. There are other worlds that have the same battle. Not all of them ended in my favor. But this one in particular, in this world, was bent in my favor. And I took this dying world and made something of it. And now, intrude upon our world. Go back to your reality and leave mine alone. And in case you don't know why you should, I will check your utensils and find out that I have many massive weapons aimed at you already. And I'm in a particularly good mood in laying you off.
Oh, you could blow us out of the sky? Well, we don't want that. Okay, I guess we're gone then.
Yeah, so please, do yourself a favor. Leave while I'm still letting you.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Matt, you moron. That's what you get for imitating Kamen Rider fights instead of Power Rangers. Now we're fucked.